Okay, I like it. Yeah, this is gonna be good. I have a new golf club in the bag. In today's video, I'm gonna be talking about what type of player profile should be using a 7-wood, who should be testing it, who should be considering it, what you should look for when it comes to the build and the setup, where it should be placed in your golf bag. I'm also gonna be talking about who should not be playing a 7-wood. You might think you want it, but it might not be the tool for you. So 7-wood, where do we start with it? I think, again, like everything, it starts with a question for yourself. Now let's talk about where I started with mine. I know that Q has been trying out the 7-wood. He came to me a big fairway wood user as a good amateur golfer. Not something I wanted to get into. Why? Because as you know, if you've been a big follower of this channel, I love a long iron. I enjoy hitting them. I like the sound, I like the feel, I like the look behind the golf ball, and I like the fact that the center of gravity, so the mass, isn't back from the blade. You don't have twist face, which means it's not going to gear as much. Gear is when the ball will start to the right and come back, or start to the left on a heel strike and come back. It's just going to give you what it gives you. But listening to players, amateur and both pro, enjoying this, watching stuff online of people digging this club out of the deep rough, people digging it out of bad lies like divots, dragged me into having to open Pandora's box again. This is a history of a golf club that I have spent a long time working with on guys who are just a master of this golf club. Paul Casey, for example, British player, came over to the States, became excellent with 5-wood, excellent with 7-wood. Dustin Johnson leaned in heavily on the 7, even trying the 9. Today we've got Tommy Fleetwood using the 7-wood all the time. It's all over social media. He's a big 7-wood player. I recently went on a trip up to Canada, up there playing with Piers Ward from Me and My Golf. We were 240 out. He handed me possibly the most upright 7-wood in the history of golf, and I pinged that puppy straight onto the green from 240 when I hadn't really hit a good golf shot up to that point in the day. So it got me thinking, return back to Carlsbad, and I'm throwing in a 7-wood video for you guys. So where did I go with this? Well, lie angle. For me, I've made this club quite a bit flatter. I've gone into the Kingdom and bent it to match up with my 3-wood. Now this 3-wood has a 3-degree sleeve on it, so it's very flat. This is a Tommy Fleetwood sleeve. It's a move I've been working on to stay in extension, really flat 3-wood, and I've made the 7-wood to match up to that. Swing weight wise, I don't want to go any heavier than that, and I want it to be the balance between 3-wood and of course your first iron, which in this case for me would be that P774 iron. So I've got D3 there, D4 in the 3-wood, and I think this came out at D3.5. Very acceptable for where I'm at. Swing weight is the balance point of the club. You've got to get that right. I've seen great players actually put hybrid shafts in this. Now you have to manipulate the diameter of the shaft because a hybrid shaft is thicker than a wood shaft. So you have to manipulate that and squeeze it in there. But I have seen players do it. I went with a wood shaft because I want to use it like a wood. I went heavier with the 80 grams. This is a new shaft from KBS. Can't say much more than that other than it's red. Now it's in all my woods. We'll talk more about that in the summer or the spring coming up. Tipped it 2 inches. Tip cut to get this golf shaft to be stronger. Why do you need to do that? Because when you're playing a shot with this much loft, you need to have a strong tip on the golf shaft that is cut to try and control that spin. So a 7-wood like that, you want to go high. That is the benefit of it. So by having a stronger tip, you can then hopefully, and this is literally going to be my 4th shot with this golf club, manipulate this and turn it down to control the flight. Like that. So I'm not so worried about the direction, I just want to be able to control the apex of that golf club. That is why I went shorter. For you, you have to make that decision. Do you want to hit them high? I always feel when I put a rescue or a long iron in, if the ball doesn't get too high, I'm able to control the flight, which to me feels like I've got it under control in terms of dispersion. But again, that is a me issue, that's a me golfer issue, which took me so long to take on the 7-wood. So then it's just left for you to calculate where this thing fits in. Once you've made these initial decisions, the first thing I think you have to look at, and let's always just single out one tile, is going to be that carry distance. So if I just lay some golf shots down here, let's have a look at how far this carries today. Not too concerned about the fact it's into a slight breeze today, no problem. It's early in the morning. I just want to see where it fits in with my set. But that golf shot there, I'm trying to think about par 5s, second shots, long par 4s. It's coming out with a lot of backspin on it. It's coming out with almost 5,000 spin, just over 5,000 spin actually. So you're gonna get a golf shot that's gonna land very soft. But that is what the 7-wood is about. Now add into that situation, so numbers are where they need to be, apex is where it needs to be, but then add into not great lies. This will come out low. But you're getting out of your 7-wood a great runner off a down bag. It's cut through the turf due to the V-steel in the sole of this QI10, and it's giving you a shot that you might not have if you're trying to hit a 4-iron out of that. So there are benefits then to the wood to get you out of trouble. So it's a higher, softer golf ball flight. So if you're someone who struggles to get woods into the air, all of a sudden this is going to be your friend. It's a shorter golf shaft, which means you can get on top of that golf ball and actually control the apex of this club rather than just accepting that it is only a one flight golf shot. Meaning if I really want to slam the ball back here and turn on one, because of how short the shaft is, so it's always going to want to climb, but your apex, you can get down a little bit. So I think the takeaway from there is, you want a golf club, you got to hit high, you know it's going to hit it high. You need height to land on the green, so peak somewhere in the UK. Obviously in the US, this is going to be a winner. Height is always your friend in the United States. I think that's why we see so many of these LPGA Tour and PGA Tour. Greens are firm, you've got to bring it in high. But you have to, as a player, embrace the height. That is the one thing that you've got to be okay with. And for me, that's a bit of a challenge. So to get round that, it was shorter, heavier, but that's a decision you've got to make when it comes for you picking your 7-wood. Bit more concentration on that one, pretty good. Made a good distance on it, yeah. See now as I'm warming up, we're getting to where I'd expect to be, which was 220 and then just under 5,000 spin. Pretty good. So it's got its uses, but in addition to this, it's absolutely going to have one more. And as I look forward at that fairway wood bunker, I think it would only be wrong. And that's a fairly steep lip now, but let's tackle this club in there to show you how versatile it truly is. So here's another place where this golf club absolutely is essential. And this isn't what you're going to be getting out of your long iron. You're definitely not going to be attacking this with your 3-wood. And when we've got a lip there and a grass lip as well, in addition to the trap, with the 7-wood, you just know that if you do this the right way, you're easily going to get it out of here. So you want to grip it down just a 1/4 inch and grip it a bit tighter as well. That's the key. That'll shorten the muscles in the arms and should be able to give you a nice cruisy ball flight. I'm going a little left here, Q. So let's see if we can get this one out and over this trap, no worries. And that's just like really good, really good. And that's where I think it's very difficult in a fitting scenario. You know, literally you're seeing the moment I've got this club, I've tweaked the lie angle a bit, I've come out here and hit it, you're seeing first shots for me. So I'm not 100% sure what this is doing yet, but I do know that on a shot like that, how can you not want that? Let's try and go a bit higher, see if I can manipulate that a hair. I mean, it's just really good, right? It's one of those clubs that the more you hit it, the more you get attracted to it. Let's see if we can just hit one off of a flat rough like you. So take a look at this just before we wrap this video. It's deep rough. Look at the head, look at my shoe. It's deep. So I know now with this, I reckon I can get down on it, choppy on it, think about advancing a golf shot. I mean, that's so thick that the right hand almost came off. Couldn't get through on the follow through. Look at the ball flight. It's definitely something that I think is fitting wise, you know where you're going to be. You're going to spin this thing. If you catch it low in the face, you're going to get the spinner. If you catch it out the heel, you're going to get the spinner. If you toe it, you're going to lose spin. So centeredness of strike, which is something I'm going to talk about a lot over the coming months as we hit the winter here. But centeredness of strike is everything. And on this club, because the center of gravity is a bit further back from the face, I think if you miss the center, you see the impacts. But the trade-offs are massive. So who should consider the 7-wood? People who can't get the golf ball in the air with woods, you are first and foremost the one that should be considering this. People who hate long irons, 7-wood. You're looking for a club that you can poke down the fairway, stop on a green, 7-wood. You're a great player that needs to hold those 235-yard par 3s in the peak of summer, 7-wood. You're a tour player that needs thick rough at these long golf courses and you've got to hack out of it, 7-wood. You're a player who wants something that can get you out of every scenario. We haven't touched fringe chipping. If you play golf courses with lots of Bermuda and you want to go with this, I could see this being useful, 7-wood. So who then maybe doesn't? Well, I'm going to answer this in an interesting way. I would be the player that wouldn't immediately consider 7-wood. I'm a good long iron player. I grew up in Europe. I like 2 irons. I like 3 irons. I'm fairly steep on it in my delivery. I squeeze the ball out. I like to see it low because it feels like it's under control. But the truth is the game's changing. The truth is the tours are changing. The truth is the influence on us all as golfers is changing. So my answer is actually every type of player should consider this 7-wood. Now, when you go through your fitting, do it like I'm saying. You're going to know your numbers. Try and get in different scenarios. And I think it's a club that if you're like me, you might not take and play everywhere you go, but when you do, you'll start to ask yourself the question, why don't I use this more often? Honestly, it's taken me the best part of 20 plus years to get used to the rescue, and now I find myself talking to you seriously considering the 7-wood. I think you should too.